Hello YouTube and welcome to Ontario Motor Speedway here in Southern California as we get ready for qualifying for race 14 of the Coke Vanilla Cup Series. What do I have this set to? Okay, good. Um, as you see here, Henry Sanford, the first car out onto the track, and they come into the race. That's still not far enough over. 19th in the owner's points as they'll have the Brooklyn style pizza Toyota this week. They will be locked in, so that doesn't matter for them, just a matter of where they will start. James Qualls, the FedEx Freight Chevrolet, will race as well. 9th in the owner's points coming into this race, as it's been a spectacular season so far. They got the win at Infineon, looking to build on it again here and just build up a little bit of a gap to 11th here, just looking for a solid run. Chris Washer looking to take back second in the owner's chase, or the owner's points after last week, falling to third after a alright showing. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad, but either way, they fell to third in points and looking to rebound here, still looking for that first win on the season for Chris Washer. Yes, we'll talk about this. Joshua Osborne, the yellow Freight Chevrolet, car number 70, will race. They are 26th in the owner's points, having the win at Road America, obviously, earlier this season. Just looking to build on a little bit here. They didn't have a great showing, but they were just outside the top 10 at Las Vegas, so I think that's a 12th place if I'm looking at the points right there. So yeah, looking to build on it here. That just matter where they will start on Sunday. Charles Jackson looking to rebound after a miserable showing at Vegas, only coming home in the 38th position or so based on the number of the points there, but still is the points leader with 7 top 5s in the first 13 races of the season. And so it's been a spectacular season so far for him. It's now a matter of keeping that momentum rolling, get back into the swing of things basically after a poor showing. Zachary Fitzwater, the UAW Daimler Chrysler Dodge, will race 25th in the owner's points coming in. Still looking for their first top 5 of the season, but the bright side is they've made every single race so far this season, so they've got that going for them. Charles Sanford, the Stater Brothers Chevrolet, because it is in California, currently the quickest car on the speed charts, will have to make it in on speed. 37th in the owner's points for the 05 car. As a little bit of frame rate there, I guess, on my end. Didn't show up much with the recording, I guess. I don't know what happened there. Either way, Sanford did not make the race last week and came up second in the D&Q race, so worth pointing out. Mark George will race. The Big Red 42 is 18th in the owner's points for Chip Ganassi Racing, and so they are safely in, just a matter of where they will start. Coming off a top 10 at Vegas. Zach Flickinger, currently 11th quickest, the Napa Auto Parts Toyota, will have to make it in on speed. 32nd quickest, or not 32nd quickest, sorry, 32nd in the owner's points coming in for the 55 car. They did make it last week and got a solid top 15 for their efforts, but right now that time going to be very borderline should he be able to make it, basically is what I'm trying to say there. As gets the wall a little bit. Should be repairable. Delon Abrahamian in the 6th, currently is 5th quickest and will race 16th in the owner's points coming in. Still looking for their first top 5 of the season, and last week it was a pretty poor showing. Looks like about the 20th spot or so right there. Ali Nelson in the 36 360 OTC car with the CVS Walgreens on the quarter panels this week. Currently 7th quickest and is a Go Home car. They are 43rd in the owner's points. We had a crash as it involved James Qualls and Chris Washer also involved. Not sure who else would have been involved in that, but at the very least, the 5 and the 11 going to be going to the rear of the field, so not a good start to the weekend for Chris Washer. Nelson, the 43rd in the owner's points. They did make Las Vegas last week, but didn't quite get the finish they would have liked to. So unfortunate for them, but let's wait and see what happens as, Stephen Paul the third and Henry Sanford. And I was actually just getting ready to talk about the 23 car as it comes to rest on the wall. Wow. And Steven did have the quickest lap in the session. Now that lap will count for his qualifying lap. But now whatever race he is in, to the rear of the field he will go. And I'm not quite... That's going to be a backup car for the 00. A lot of damage to that car. So, wow. I'm going to have to try and note these things down, basically. Alexander Rowe will move on now. 17th quickest right now on the speed charts, and they are the lowest in owner's points of the full-time cars this season, and it has not been a good season. They have not made a race in quite some time. I believe they're at 8 or 9 consecutive D&Qs now, if I'm remembering this correctly. Steven will probably point out where I'm wrong on this stat at some point. But right now, the speed borderline for the Miller Lite Dodge. And they're coming off the D&Q also at Vegas. Cole Deaver, the 1957 Chevy Monte Carlo there, 18th quickest right now. They will race 27th in the owner's points for the 8 car. Oh, I do have to go down that far, don't I? Wow. So Deaver will race, just no matter where he starts right now. Zach Rogers, the Sears Automotive Dodge, currently is 25th quickest, the slowest car in this group, but that does not matter. They will race 23rd in the owner's points right now, but needing to put a solid effort here to get this weekend, as they have been free-falling a little bit in the points. They are coming off a race where they were... actually, I'm sorry, they had a terrible Vegas finish. I'm just looking at... I looked down a little bit on the results. So, needing the rebound after a Vegas finish that didn't quite go according to plan for them. Sam Young, the Waste Management Chevrolet, car number 14, is currently 12th quickest, and they come into this race 6th in the owner's points, so they will race. Right now, they're looking... Right now, what they're almost looking at is trying to make sure that they can get into the owner's chase, because they're looking pretty solid to try and lock their way into Daytona next year. That's what they're trying to do. Or at least lock these points into Daytona next year. Vince Almarego, the Peak Antifreeze Chevrolet, is currently 4th quickest, and they are 5th in the owner's points, so they will race as well. And right now looking like they will have a very solid starting spot as well come Sunday. So Almarego coming off a miserable finish at Vegas, looking to rebound here. William Brock currently is 23rd quickest. They are 35th in the owner's points. They did make Vegas, but it was not the showing they would have liked to have gone, as they look for that first win of the season here in the Cup Series. I guess I'm looking at that right. Yeah. But Brock needs to make it on speed, and that speed not going to be good enough, I think. Jessica Shelton currently is 7th quickest, and this car is 7th in the owner's points. So A little bit of numerology working in their favor right now, looking to put themselves in a solid starting spot for Sunday and try and build on some more of the momentum as Jess tries to move into the top 10 in the driver's points to try and make the driver's chase as well as the owner's chase. Bill Bragg Jr., the most recent race winner in the 22 car, the normal Caterpillar Toyota this week. Right now doesn't have quite the speed that they would like, I think, but they will race, and they closed up the gap quite a bit to Jackson last week and looking to close up that gap even more here. Stephen Pollard III, currently the quickest car in this session at a 48.79, and Pollard did have to make it in on speed. 31st in the owner's points coming in, and we saw what happened there. Their primary car lost. Good thing they had a backup handy, so we'll have to see what happens here for Steven the rest of this session. Jeffrey McCullough, the Crown Royal Ford, is currently 10th quickest, and they are a go-go homer as well. 48th in the owner's points for the 26 car coming in, still looking for that first top 10 of the season. Coming off a race where they actually did make the show, so trying to make two in a row. As Ozkan now just jumped up to 10th, he is another one of the go-go homers, 36th in the owner's points for the Reese Chevrolet this week. And the orange bumper, okay. Samet Ozkan, top 10 last week at Vegas, still looking for that first top 5 of the season though. Just got bumped out of 10th actually, down to 11th. William Duncan, the Prilus Echo TC car, is currently second quickest. They are 11th in the owner's points, coming off a solid race at Vegas in the top half of the field. So let's see how they can do here. Just a matter of where they start on Sunday. Christopher Pierce, the Fujifilm Dodge, is currently the slowest car in this session now, as they are 27th in the owner's points coming in. So they are another car that definitely needs a solid run here on Sunday to be able to try and cushion themselves a little bit from 31st. Kev Shear is currently 18th quickest. The Cheerios Dodge, that speed is going to be very borderline right now, and they are 47th in the owner's points coming in. Trying to get a draft off that 22 car, well, to see what they can do. It's been since Infineon since Kev Shear actually made a race, so hoping that he can actually do well here. I really want to see him make a race, in all honesty. Actually, let's see what the time is here for Kev. Still up a 10, so he's got a shot here. That actually covers it for who all we're going to need to talk about, so we've shown everyone. And that is it for group number 1. Stephen Pollard III sets the quickest lap on his primary, but then does not top that time on the backup car, so worth noting. Duncan, Sanford, Osborne, Almarego, Washer, Ebrahimian, Ozkan, Jackson, and George the top 10. Obviously from that, looks like Pollard, Sanford, Ozkan should be safe this week, as they were all top 10 of this group. So I would assume that their laps are going to be safe enough to actually make them into the, or get them into the show. As for McCullough I think is going to be safe as well. Nelson, Shear, they might be able to make it. I'm not too sure though. Rowe and Flickinger I think are going to be going to the house, unfortunately, which means another DNQ for Rowe and some killed momentum there for the 55, as they were on a string of some good races. They were making shows and getting solid points, but now that will come to an end. With that, we'll be right back for group number 2. Before we actually go to group number 2, I was looking back for what happened with the 5 and the 11, and I found this. McCullough and Cole Deaver. Heavy impacts here. Both of them are also going to be going to a back car, and this is actually where the 11 and the 5's wreck's going to come into play here. As Deaver will come back to land on his wheels, but then Zach Rogers, and there's Qualls. And there is Chris Washer's car as well. Kev Shear also gets a piece of it in the 43. And then 22 just kind of goes for a spin. Osborne also gets a piece of it as well in the 70. Christopher Pierce gets a little bit of contact there, but I think his car is going to be just fine. Doesn't look too bad. So more cars also being added to the list of cars going to the rear of their respective fields. Let's get back to group number 2. And we are back for group number 2, just waiting on that first car to go out onto the track, and it looks like we have found it. Indeed we have. Preston Plord in car number 20 will be the first car to go out to the track. Car that will be locked into the race, 21st in the owner's points for the Home Depot Chevrolet. Looks to be the more standard version of the car, as I don't see any store numbers on it, so helps me out a little bit. We'll have to see what Preston can do though, coming off looking to rebound after a pretty poor showing at Vegas. Mohammed Zain Abdullah also carrying the 1957 type scheme like his teammate Cole Deaver is. Currently 8th in the owner's points for Zain Abdullah, as he looks for his first career Cup Series win here and looking to hope that comes in California. Not quite sure what I was going to say there. Seth Cole, the 25 car, will race. They are 28th in the owner's points, so looking for a solid run here and looking for a rebound after a poor showing at Vegas. Just didn't quite get the right setup there on their car. Chris Wilson is going to make the lives difficult up here in the booth this week, as he is carrying the yellow freight colors as well as his teammate. So Chris Wilson will have to try and make it in on speed, obviously. They are 38th in the owner's points. They have yet to miss a show that they have attempted for so far this season, so we'll have to see what they can do. Jonathan Zorline, the Motorola Ford, is locked into the race, 22nd in the owner's points. Pretty poor showing last week at Vegas, as they were in the bottom third of the standings there, so we'll have to see if they can, they're looking to rebound, obviously. We'll have to see how they can do. They don't have 2 cars here this week, so that might be able to make their job a little bit easier. Will Lewis in the 07 has fallen to 20th in the owner's points, looking to rebound again as well, as they did not have the type of showing in Vegas that they would have liked, but they will race, so it's just a matter of where this session is just a matter of where do they qualify and trying to keep this car in one piece, as we saw a lot of cars get wrecked out in the first session, the first group. Max Anderson looking to turn things around as they have missed quite a few races as of late. 39th in the owners points though, and last week was no exception. They did miss the Vegas race, so looking to rebound and actually make the show here this week. The Snickers Dark Ford this time. Isaac Flickinger, who currently is the lowest car in the owners points coming into this race. They are 9th quickest right now, as this will change periodically basically, or anytime someone crossed the line right now they'll change. Flickinger though, they will move past the 49 car just by starting the D&Q race, so there is that, I guess. So Flickinger currently though 55th, or this 78 car is 55th out of 55 cars so far this season. Brennan Paris in the RNL Carriers Ford will race. They are 17th quickest right now in the speed charts, 24th in the owners points coming in, so needing to try and rebound a little bit. It's been rough sailing since the Atlanta win, although last week a decent showing, not great though, so let's see how they can do this week. Amy Shelley, the Mobil 1 Dodge, currently 22nd quickest, but will race. 12th in the owners points for car number 12, so there's that going for him, I guess. Coming off a 42nd place finish though at Vegas, so basically anything will be better here this week. Jack James, the State Water Heaters Chevrolet, will race. 29th in the owners points last week after having to make it in on speed. And a very good showing, top 15 for the 4 team. So we'll have to see what they can do this week. Right now the car doesn't look to have the best of speed though. Tristan Wilhoit, the AmeriQuest Ford, is currently 23rd quickest, and that doesn't exactly matter for them. They will race, so there's that. Currently 4th in the owners points though, coming off a 41st place finish at Vegas. RJ Reynolds trying to join the 00 in the race or join his teammate the 00 in the race, I should say. Currently 10th quickest. They are 40th in the owners points right now, as they've been on a little bit of a roll. I say that, but they did miss the race last week at Vegas. They did win the D&Q race though, so let's see if they can maybe turn that into a little bit of momentum here and try and make the show. Currently 11th quickest now, as some of the times got readjusted. We'll have to see how that time can do though. Troy King will race, 6th quickest right now, and they are 15th in the owners points, coming off a top 10 at Vegas, so that's always a good thing to do. Come in with a little bit of momentum. We'll have to see how well they can manage it though, as right now a good qualifying effort for them. Kyle Matthews, the Jimmy Johnson Foundation Chevrolet, 13th quickest right now, 10th in the owners points coming in, despite having D&Q to race earlier this season, so we'll have to see what they can do. Just a matter of where they start and just keep this car in one piece right now. Steve Pollard in the 33, currently 10th quickest on the speed charts. This car is 42nd in the owners points, as Steve Pollard is running a full-time effort amongst 2 different rides right now. But he will have to make it in on speed as part of the stipulation basically of trying to run 2 cars. So Tom Shelley is currently the 25th quickest car, or 2nd slowest out of this group right now, the Goodies Dodge. They will have to make it on speed, 41st quickest right now, and that speed definitely will not be good enough to make it. Can they better it? Yes, they can. Only 1 spot though, so right now that speed not going to be good enough. Chris Louvier, the U.S. Army Chevrolet, with the Earnhardt stripes there on the side, and the waste management on the deck lid, I believe is what I saw. Yes, it is. Okay. They will race, although they're needing a rebound after a poor showing at Vegas. Louvier and this 01 team, 30th in the owner's points coming in, so definitely no room of cushion here coming into this one. Only about 13, I think they're 13 points to the good if I'm doing math right there, as Isaac Flickinger's season gets worse. Somehow it gets worse. Oh, wow. And that looks to be a backup car for the 78 team, so now if they do make the race, they'll have to start from the rear of the field. Johnny Gardner, the Kenwood Dodge, at least making life a little bit easier up in the if he should make the race. Johnny Cummins comes into this race 45th in the owner's points, and upon doing the stats, we have realized just how bad of a season it has been for Johnny Gardner. This car does not have a top 20 finish this season. Currently third quickest. They're looking to try and change that here by making the race and finishing in the top 20 to start showing that Penske is not dying. Dylan Young, the Chromax Pro Chevrolet. I thought there was damage on the side of the one car. Apparently there's not. Apparently I was just seeing things. But Dylan Young, 6th quickest right now. They will race 14th in the owner's points for the DuPont Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. So doesn't matter where they start, or the only thing about this session is just a matter of figuring out where they will start, but they will race. Mary Shelley is currently 25th quickest, and that speed will not get her into the show. 33rd in the owner's points for Mary Shelley. It's been a trying season right now for a driver who has made every single Coke Vanilla Cup Series chase, and it looks like that streak might come to an end here this season as we're halfway to the chase finalization, basically. And right now, Shelley needs to turn it around quickly if she's going to be able to make the chase. Not to mention she's also going to have to win a race somewhere. William Flickinger, the Winter Fresh Dodge, currently is 23rd quickest, so right now they don't have the speed to be able to make this race. 49th in the owner's points for the 40, so it's been what it is so far for Flickinger. It's not been a good season for him either, but he does have a top 10 at least. Gene Sanford, currently 5th quickest, so it looks like all three Sanfords might be able to make the race, as Charles Sanford looked really safe out of group number 1, and this 47 car showing speed yet again, only DNQ'd at Atlanta, but has made every other race so far this season. 44th in the owner's points for the 47 car, as Gene Sanford still looking to try and finalize her plans for the 2008 season. I already talked about Randolph. Sky Commons, currently 2nd quickest, the Red Bull Toyota. And he comes into this race 34th in the owner's points, so this would be a key step for them if they can make the race, trying to move that Red Bull team just closer and closer to the top 30 in points right now, because they've done a good job so far this season at making as many races as they have. I will say that. Basically, that's what I can say about them. And finally, Levi McIntyre in car 99, 10th quickest in this session and 13th in the owner's points coming in. So Levi will race, just a matter of where he will start. And that is it for group number 2, as Patterson on his final lap put himself into the 48-second bracket, as 5 cars were able to run a 48-second lap time around this flatter version of Indianapolis, as I like to call it. And that is it for qualifying. So I will say this, I know the front row just by the results here, and I think I know who are the 42 drivers who will start the LA Times 500 on Sunday, and I will leave that to be a surprise that you will see right now.